Welcome to the Play Big podcast with Coach Curtis Dean. Coach Curtis is a certified life and health coach. Coach Curtis's passion is to help everyone reach their highest potential. If you're stuck in a rut in your career, relationship, or personal growth, Coach Curtis will challenge you to play big through transformational habit change coaching. Coach Curtis will help you clarify your goals, identify your obstacles, and design strategies to overcome them. So get ready, get pumped up, and let's play big. Hello, and welcome everyone to Playing Bigger with the Play Big Coach. I am here with the beautiful, amazing, gorgeous, talented Joan.
Hi, everybody.
We are excited to be here tonight. This is a bonus show for us this month. We generally only do 2 of these a month, every other week. And my wonderful, amazing producer has graciously given us another show to do this month. And so we want to give a shout out. We are sponsored tonight by Go Giga Creations, which is my amazing producer. And she's gotten into a joint venture with another amazing entrepreneur, and they are doing some big stuff, and you will hear a lot more about it later, I'm sure. So thank you guys so much for being here. Today was a great day for us in the grandparent world. We went down to Orlando and picked up whom I call my baby grand. She's my oldest granddaughter. She's a bonus granddaughter who came to us when our daughter started dating Mo, and who has my newest little grandbaby, Brindley. And so it's just wonderful to have her here. So now we got all of our babies in one place. We're excited.
It's really a fun summer with all of them together, and yeah, it's just going to be wonderful.
It really is. And so that brings us to something real quick. In the next month in July, one of our topics is going to be really reestablishing connection with your children while they're on summer break, while they're out, instead of, just kind of letting them have all the screen time. Not there's anything wrong with screen time, but instead of having them always having something planned that's somewhere else, we want to have them have something planned that's with mom and dad. As a chef, my theme, I guess you'd say, or whatever, was bringing family time back to dinner time. And that's something I believe so much in. It's getting to sit around the table and have dinner and really get in touch with your family, doing your highs and lows, doing what your best of the day and those kind of things. So maybe our first show of July, since it's coming up quick and because we need it, we're going to talk about, and I'm going to try to get a couple really cool guests on, some moms and dads who are really good at that kind of thing and really establishing boundaries and relationships and bringing that core family back together.
Yes.
And sometimes it's nothing more than just being together, going to the beach. And it doesn't
around the dinner table and talking. No, at this time during the summer, you're not running the soccer practice. You're not running the basketball practice, baseball practice. You're not running all over the place. You can actually sit down, have a family meal, and talk about your day.
Absolutely. Sometimes I think we plan ourselves out too much, and we plan our children's lives out so much that they are so freaking stressed that they don't know whether they're coming or going. Sometimes we need to just be. Sometimes we need to just be together, whether it's at the park or whether it's at the beach, or whether, like she said, sitting around the table, building a fort, all those kind of things. I was watching a TikTok the other day, and this woman was talking about how that, she reads all these parent books and she's trying to be a better parent, and she's trying to learn how to do all these great things with her children and make every interaction with them, something that's building and molding and growing them to be better human beings. And I'm all for that. And she said, my husband just doesn't get it. He's just in there building a fort with them.
And sometimes that's what you just need, is to be silly, to be, whether they're 2 years old or like our baby grand, she's going on 13, get in there and build a silly pillow fort or have a pillow fight or just be silly. It's okay to be silly every once in a while.
Absolutely. And, that's actually one of the things that we talk about in life coaching is there, and health coaching too, mostly in life coaching, is there's a whole session that we do, a whole strategy we do on just what we call being naughty. doing something different, doing something outside of your norm, crossing against traffic. And Toya says, yes, silly is healing. And absolutely. A couple of my friends who usually watch the broadcast pretty regularly, Mike and Alyssa, every weekend when they're off, you see them posting pictures on Facebook of their kids. They're at the park, or they're at the beach, or they're at the plantation that really is cool here that came up, one of the old Spanish places, and just all kind of really cool things that they do with their kids. They're making memories, but they're doing it, together as a family. And it's really, really cool. And I really respect them for that. I think it's so awesome. And I appreciate them being here. Guys, if you're with us, let us know you're out there. Ask some questions. We're going to be talking about love, divorce. We're not getting a divorce because I can't afford it, honestly. No. Love, divorce, and staying the course. I did a little live on this last year, and I replayed it for everybody, I don't know, a week or so ago. And it got a lot of traction when I did it because it's a pretty interesting topic. And I got a lot of good, cool stuff to talk about. Daniel Gray says he's loving this one already. One of my favorite things to do is to joke and laugh with her. Daniel, you and I haven't met in real life yet, but I can tell you're already a guy who gets it. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
I see your relationship with our amazing friend Sarah. Oh, there's Sarah. Hey, girl.
Hey, Sarah.
And just the pictures I've seen you post and stuff, brother, I know you get it. I can see already. And I'm so excited and happy that you came into Sarah's life. And, you guys have any questions, or when we're talking about things, if you want to talk about a little bit of your story, please be sure to type in. But we really appreciate you tuning in and being here. Hopefully, Courtney's on tonight as well, and some other folks. So we'll be talking to y'all soon. Real quick, we got to do the business end of this. Once again, tonight we are sponsored by Go Giga Creations, and we appreciate them so much. My producer is fabulous, guys. If this is something you want to do, we recommend her wholeheartedly, 100%. She makes me look damn good every week. I mean, every week. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it ain't that hard, but come on. I'm talking about the production part of it. So we also want to remind you of our Patreon group. If you would like to be part of our Patreon group, we invite you to check that out. Come look at us on our website, www.playbigcoach.com, playbigcoach.com. On there, you can find a really cool guide to how to de-stress and make your life more calm. It's free. You give me your email address, and we'll shoot it out to you. And also, you can schedule your first free Play Big session. What is that? It's just where you and I talk about what a life coach is, where you're at, where you want. That's not good right there. Where you're at, where you want to be, and how we can get you there through life coaching. Okay? Awesome. Next, we are super excited. I told you on the last show that Joan and Megan realized that between the three of us, we had about 2 hours a day. We were doing absolutely nothing with one of our businesses. So we started a new business, and it is called The Shop Around the Corner. And it is amazing children's clothes by an amazing wholesaler called Pete and Lucy. It's really, really cool stuff for anything from little kids, like babyish kind of, up to 12 years old. And yeah, this is some of the stuff on there. Guys, this is not MLM. This is not multi-level marketing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's not. We are actually retailers for these guys. And the clothing is amazing. It is soft. It is gentle on the skin. And it is some really cool fabrics. Every week we have pre-sales that you can order. Friday night, mark your calendar. Friday night at 8 o'clock. Friday night, 8 o'clock, we're going to do a live unboxing. We're going to show you guys some of these amazing clothes. Joan's going to have her crafts in the shop, and we're going to have some other gifts like really cool candles and just all kinds of stuff.
Bath salts, bath bombs, that kind of stuff. Just stuff to kind of go along with the children's clothing and what you need for your kids and what you need for you because you have kids, to stay the course and, keep on track with them.
That's right, because after you had a full day with the kids, you need to have a nice hot bath and de-stress. So there's all that kind of fun stuff. Friday night unboxing. Join us at 8 o'clock. Okay, so let's get into this. Some of you might notice I'm actually drinking water tonight. Every once in a while, I just like to surprise the hell out of my liver and drink water. And my liver's like, I don't know what's happening right now. I don't know what's going on with that. But hey, cheers.
Kind of taking a little detoxing. Again, it's one of those things to keep you healthy. There's nothing wrong with drinking at all. We like our wine, but every once in a while, you kind of just got to detox your body so you can get your mind clear, your body clear, and you can move on and move forward.
Absolutely. If you could see behind me, you would see that I am quite the bourbon aficionado, but we're not going to show that.
He's the bourbon collector.
Okay, I'm a bourbon collector. It is true. It is true. Anyway, so we're going to talk about love, divorce, and staying the course. And I know some of you might think, why are we going to talk about divorce when you guys are so happy and all you talk about is positivity and blah, blah, blah? Well, knowing about divorce and some of the causes and reasons for divorce can also help you to stay in love and help you to stay the course, right? And also because one thing, I found out something last week, and I'll get into it a little bit deeper in the divorce part of this, is this new, well, it's not a new thing, but this trend that's called gray divorce or silver separating. And it's folks who've been married for an inordinate amount of time who are now getting divorced, right? I remember I was shocked and surprised when my brother and sister-in-law got divorced, and they've been married, I think, 22, 23 years. Yeah. I was blown away. Everything looked great on the outside, and 2 kids, picket fence, both had great careers, and boom. Now, when we get into some of this, you'll see kind of the reasons why, and that's what we're going to talk about, not them specifically, but in general. So love. Joan loves this part. We're going to talk about our story, and I know we probably told it before, and our story is really cool to me because it just lets you know that you have a person out there, right? Everybody has a person. Some people believe we have several people, and that could be true. I don't know. I just know I found my person. Back in the 90s, I had... in 1989, actually moved to Jacksonville after a horrible divorce. And then I went to work for this guy at McDonald's. He was 28 years old. He had bought his first restaurant, and I went to work for him. So he had gotten his second restaurant, and we were having a manager's meeting and right in the front in the afternoon. And so this girl walks in, this girl right here. She walked in, she was young. She was 9 months pregnant. She was wearing a pair of baggy shorts because that's really what you do when you're pregnant. You wear the most loose-fitting, comfortable clothing you can find. She was 9 months pregnant, ready to pop. She had a big baggy tank top on, flip-flops, and she walked in to introduce herself during this meeting because she was one of our managers. We hadn't met yet. And she smiled, and my fate was sealed at that point. That smile did it all. I literally... she talked for a few minutes and she walked away, and I'm really didn't even realize I was sitting there grinning, as my daddy used to say, like a mule eating briars. I was sitting there grinning, and one of the other ladies at the meeting said, what are you smiling about? What's so funny? And I said, well, because I just met the woman I'm going to marry and spend the rest of my life with. And she said, well, that's odd because she's engaged to somebody else and she's having his baby. And I said, I really don't know what to tell you about all that. All I know is that, and I didn't say my person because we didn't say my person back then, but I said, that's my one. That's the person I'm going to marry. That's the woman I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. It took me 5 years of hard charging, ups and downs. Trust me, she did not feel this way. No, not at all. I was not her type. I was not her type at all. But I began to be her type when she realized, and I'll let you say, I think, but because she realized I was a family man, that I had values and I had certain things I wanted in marriage and those kind of things.
Yeah. Not that my ex-husband didn't. We just kind of was growing apart at the time, and we were having our own issues and having, going in different career paths in our lives. So when I was going through my divorce, I really needed somebody to talk to. And even though we
didn't always get along,
Curtis was always somebody I could talk to at work, And so, we just started talking, and it just grew from there. I mean, it was just him understanding because he went through a bad divorce, and now I was going through my divorce. And so it was just, he understood where I was coming from at that time.
It's true. And the thing about it is, too, is during this time, Joan got married and wound up getting a divorce, and I got married and wound up getting a divorce. So I'm on my third marriage with Joan. We have now been married, going in July will be 25 years. And so there's a lot of people who say, well, how can you be a relationship coach if you've been divorced 3 times? My first response to you is bite me. My second response is, you have to go through certain things in life to learn certain things, right? I know exactly what I don't want in a marriage, and I know exactly what I do want in a marriage or relationship, right? Yes, and we would love to hear your feel-good story, too. If you have a love story, and especially Sarah and Daniel, we want to hear you guys because it's fresh and it's new, and I'm excited. But during that time, we had ups and downs as friends. We came together after we both, as the stars would say, uncoupled from our other. And so that was kind of how it happened. I knew from the first moment. It took her a little while. The thing about
I'm a slow learner. What can I tell you?
I say I chased her for 5 years, and she said she finally just got tired of running, and I get that. She's not a big runner. We actually went and had a reading one time, and I may have told this on the air already before, and I'm not sure. Israel says he agrees he's on his second marriage. That's right, brother. And I see you and your wife and your incredible kids, and you guys are doing big things, and we love you and appreciate you. We went and had a reading one time, and so, like I said, I don't know if I've told this before. If I do, maybe you haven't heard it. But anyway, we're standing there. The lady, we were in Casadega, and the lady already had a couple people ahead of us, so we're just kind of standing in the shop, hanging around. And she came out, and every time she would come out, she would just look at us like, and she would go back in her room and do whoever was next with the reading, and then she finally came out. And I'm really getting this weird feeling like, I don't know. Is there something about it she just didn't like, or what was the deal? So finally, she calls us in and she says, I just want you guys to know I'm really curious of why you want to read it. And I was like, well, doesn't everybody? Don't you kind of want to know these things? I said, we believe in this gift. We believe in these kind of things, and we want you to tell us. And she goes, because when I looked out, into the shop, you guys had just a ring of light around both of you. And if I ever looked at a couple who I thought were where they were supposed to be and knew what they were doing in life, it was you two. I was like, well, damn.
Okay.
Yeah. She said, but I will take your $25, have a seat, and let's talk. So, and one thing that she pointed out to us, and again, if your beliefs, your religious beliefs or whatever are different from ours, that's perfectly fine. We believe in this kind of thing wholeheartedly. She said that Joan and I are what is called twin flames. Joan and I have been together since the creation of time in different lifetimes and different life forms and different ways. But in every life that we've ever lived, we've always come together. And I don't think there's a greater love story. I think that's freaking awesome.
That's right there. Is all. If that's what somebody tells you and that's what you believe, and we truly believe it, because there are things that we talk about and you're like, I think we've done this before.
Exactly.
And not in the current situation, like deja vu, like we've done this in our living room here before. No, it's like we've had this conversation somewhere other than in here in time right now, and it's just weird. But
I think we've both always been considered old souls, even growing up. And I know, and like I said, us being twin flames, it just, sometimes it feels really easy, for us to be together. Sometimes it's not, because life, so that's cool. Love is different for everybody, guys. Everybody's not, it's not a fairy tale for everybody. It's not that. And trust me, we've had plenty of years that were not fairy tale-ish.
Nope.
Trust me, we've had hard times. Some of those we brought on ourselves. And so one of the things I looked at today that I thought was really cool was, how can you tell when you're in love? There's 22 signs that you're falling in love. And I thought these were cute. I'm going to go through them really quick, because this could honestly be a whole show, right, in itself. Number one, you feel adventurous. You're suddenly open to trying new things and doing new things, because when you're with someone new and they have new feelings and new ideologies and all those things, you don't want to toss aside what you believe, but you also want to experience new things. Number two, you're intensely curious about them. You want to know everything. God, I can't tell you how many late nights Joan and I stayed up talking to all hours of the morning about our entire lives, and things we've been through and all the things that have happened. Number three, you feel their pain. Love can make you more attuned to your partner's needs. Okay, I don't know what face that is you're making. I don't know if you're trying to read this or what.
I was. I'm sorry.
But yeah, you begin to feel each other's pain. Trust me, she gets so angry at me because I'll be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "Nothing. Everything's fine." Or I'm like, "Yeah, like you don't feel." No, I'm fine. And then like 2 or 3 days later, she's like, "The other day I felt so bad." And I'm like, why the hell didn't you just, well, because you wanted to go do this or you want to do that, and I don't want to ruin our day. And I'm like, okay. You're full of date ideas, from exploring the city to spending the night in, all those kind of things. And see, this is one thing that when you, and I say this all the time to people in relationships, when you start cheating and start dealing with somebody else outside of your relationship, all those fun things you're doing with that cheater, if you do them with the person you're with now, you wouldn't be cheating, Skippy. Okay? Yep. You wouldn't be cheating. So that's something huge for me. You forget your other priorities. You know, you're just immersed in this person 24/7, 365. Here's number 6. You crave sex, usually because it's new and it's different. Never take never take that I'm okay number 3. Right? Oh yeah, you ain't wrong, brother. Okay. You crave sex, and most of that do it too is because it's new, right?
And you're happy. You're in this relationship, and the whatever toxins in your brain is all like on and it's like, oh my God, it's great. So
when it's good things, it's endorphins. When it's bad things, it's toxins.
Whatever.
And 2, because you're not worried about paying the bills. You're not worried about picking the kids up from soccer. You're not worried about this, that, and the other. You're just enjoying each other. Number 7, you feel like you're moving really fast or really slow. I'm always moving fast. I don't know if that one applies to me. Number 8, you enjoy sex more. Okay, whoever wrote this really likes sex a lot, and I'm okay with that. Sex feels better when there's a little love, is what it says. Number 9, you're more affectionate. Again, this is one of those things that people lose over time, is just being affectionate with each other. Right? We sit on the couch and like she'll put her feet in my lap and I rub her feet, or she'll just reach over and do this. And that means hold my hand. I've learned that in 25 years. That means hold my hand. And we hold hands. Or like right now, she's close enough to me that her leg is on my leg. And we're just being affectionate. We're touching and talking. And
it doesn't have to be sexual. It doesn't have to lead to sex. It's just feeling good about your partner and making them feel good. Just being close, being in the same proximity, being in the same room sometimes.
Exactly.
We sit on the opposite ends of the couch and do our own different thing, but we're still together. So, yeah. And that's what you have to be.
And it's a sense of comfort knowing that person's with you. Number 10, you feel positive about your future. Of course you do, because it's new and exciting. Number 11, you're worried. You're worried that maybe things are going too well and, when's that other shoe going to drop? Number 12, you focus only on your next date. I think we still do that, mostly because we go out and eat a lot, and that's what we focus on. You're glued to your phone. Well, I don't know about that, because everybody's glued to their phone now, it seems like. You feel invincible. Number 15, you can't stop smiling. Remember that stupid smile I told you about the first time I met her? Still there. Number 16, you're suddenly single-minded. I will tell you guys that for me, that was the biggest thing that I knew Joan was my person, because I was married to my first wife. I knew that was the wrong thing to do probably 24 hours after I did it, but I stayed there for 8 years because we had a child. My second wife was an amazing, incredible woman, but I still was not satisfied, right? I still knew that there was something else out there. She was college educated. She was beautiful. She, kept the house with me. We kept the house clean. She loved to do things. We had a great relationship, but I knew there was something else, right? As soon as I was with Joan, I was single-minded. Like, I know this is my person. I know, like I said, we fight sometimes. We have arguments and things, but there's never a time when I think, oh my God, she's going to leave. Or she thinks, oh my God, he's going to leave. That's just not part of the equation, right? You feel more love for others. Love begets love. I think that's in a book somewhere. You're not as perceptive. And I got a whole section on the fact that your partner should not be your do-it-yourself project. You're not as perspective. You're missing those red flags. There's things that maybe you should be looking for that you're not. You daydream. Number 20, you feel like a better person. Absolutely. I've told you guys that 100 times. Joan makes me by far a better person. Okay, let's see what Daniel's got going on.
I can't read all that.
Okay. It says, so close to giving up on love altogether, and days before thinking that maybe it's just better to figure out how to just be alone. Then came Sarah. I was so intrigued from the get-go. I saw more than those just amazing eyes, a beautiful face, and that sweet smile. I saw someone who was smart, talented, and amazing heart in her. We see all that as well.
Absolutely.
We know that. I usually chicken out with the first move, and this time was different. After a few days of being Facebook friends, I took a chance, asked her to dinner and a movie, and at a beautiful restaurant. And if there's more, I guess Toy is probably typing it up, I'm sure. My amazing producer puts all this stuff up there for us so we can read it. So, I don't know if I finished the last one. That's okay. You guys kind of get the idea. Everything's new and fresh and vibrant. One thing I was curious about with love was I was really curious if COVID was going to increase the divorce rate or decrease it, right? Because for a lot of us, having to be in the same room with our spouses 24/7, 365 for however many months that has been for some of you, like with us, we had a short lockdown here in Florida. Florida doesn't play by the rules. We kind of do our own thing. We're like that crazy uncle at the party who's just drunk running around in his underwear. That's Florida. But for some folks, they've been locked down for months and months and months.
Yes.
And if you're not used to that kind of relationship with your partner, it could be a lot. Joan and I have worked together off and on in the same profession, same building for years.
Yeah.
So for us, it was just another day at the park. And I'm really curious. I know there's been a lot of COVID babies, so I know a lot of us were enjoying it in the beginning. So Pastor Doe says, sometimes it's simply about taking a chance. Absolutely. And, that's the thing, Daniel and Sarah, is, making sure you take that chance. You guys already took the chance, and I see great things happening for you guys. And I'm just super excited about what's going to come up next. So I'm kind of curious in the next 6 months to a year to see what COVID's done to love, relationships, and those kind of things. So let me ask you something. I saw this really interesting thing, and is love the end-all, be-all in being married? My first wife told me, and it broke my heart because I didn't like this. She said, when I married you, I liked you a lot, and I figured I'd grow to love you. Well, butter my biscuit, call me toast. I did not like that at all. I feel like you should be in love. Crazy, head over heels, syrupy love. I know there are cultures where there's prearranged marriages, and they put you together because of certain status symbols or certain family dynamics and things, and it seems to work, and that's wonderful. So is love the end all to be all in a marriage and relationship? And so this survey said that these are people who are married or unmarried. Married people, 93% of them say you need to be in love. 84% say they say it doesn't matter. Making a lifelong commitment. 87% of married people say yes. Is love the end? Okay, that's what I said. Okay, 74% of unmarried people said maybe it's not a lifelong commitment. 81% of married people said they married for companionship, and only 63% of unmarried people said they would. If you want companionship, get a dog. Okay, there's got to be more to it than just wanting to have a snuggle buddy. My wife and I cherish the time that we had during the initial stages of COVID, and that's from Pastor Doe. Absolutely, I'm sure. And I know a lot of couples did. I know a lot of couples who probably wanted to kill each other 3 weeks into it, much less 3 months. Must you get married? Must you have children? 59% of married people said yes. 44% of married children said. 44% of unmarried people said no to having a child. It's not a deal breaker. Another real quick tip from the coach here: if people don't want to have babies and they tell you they're not going to have a baby, don't ask them why, because it's none of your damn business. That's pretty simple, right? But why don't you want to have children? Because I don't. I just don't. People used to ask Joan and I all the time, why didn't y'all have a baby together? Because we're selfish. We knew our two were going to get grown and get out of the house, and we were going to have years to be able to do our thing. And
now we have years to do grandbaby stuff, and we're excited to be in that part of our lives. So
it is.
We just knew that our one of each, and trust me when I tell you mine was enough. Mine was definitely enough, and that was good, and we're all happy, and that's the way it is. Now, if life happened and we had a baby together, we'd be perfectly happy too. It's just the way we thought about our relationship. And that's one of those things when you are thinking about proposing and you're thinking about being in a committed relationship, thinking about being married. Have you had those conversations? Absolutely. Those are conversations to have way before you think about proposing. There's that whole realm of things that, you shouldn't talk about that. Those are things you need to talk about, guys, because if those are deal breakers, that's good. it's going to end up in divorce.
It is.
It's sad to say in this state, but young people getting married now, the first sign of, trouble, the first time, that we didn't talk about that. Okay, we're done. We're out. Bye. See you later. You have to have those hard conversations.
It's true. And just so you know, guys, children are not pawns. Children are not pawns. Children are not things that you have to save a marriage, to keep a man, to keep a woman, to trap someone. Children are human beings. Okay. And if your significant other is a drunk or a womanizer or a manorizer, whatever that word is, let's just say a hoe. If a man hoe or a woman hoe, if your significant other's a hoe and they're a drunk and they can't keep a job and they got shit credit and they don't pay their bills, having a baby is not going to change that. It is not.
Fix it.
And if you think it is, I cannot help you. I promise. Sarah says, I love the idea that you have someone to do life with, the good and the bad, a connection on multiple levels. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. The good and the bad. And when I tell you, we could do a whole show on the good and a whole show on the bad. Trust me. But it is so much better when you have someone to do it with. And the last thing, why get married? 31% of married people said it was because of financial stability, and 30% of unmarried people say that really doesn't matter to them. So, and that's fine. It can be that way. That's perfectly fine. So the question is marriage, is love the end all be all to being married? Do you have to be in love? I think so.
I think so. Other people may not. I mean, it depends on what your characteristic of marriage is. What does marriage mean to you as a couple, as a person? What I think marriage is not the same thing as Joe down the road or the guy in the apartment next door's idea of what marriage is. It's just what you believe, and you have to find your person that thinks like that. Right. That thinks in that same lane of what marriage is supposed to be like, what it's going to look like, who's going to do the dishes, who's going to do the laundry. Curtis does neither because I don't like the way he does it. So that's our deal. You have to come up with, what is your marriage life going to look like?
We have a couple in Atlanta who are our dearest friends, and we've been friends now, I don't know, 15, 16, 18, 20 years. I don't know. Their marriage is totally different than ours. Absolutely different. They could not live like we do, and we could not live like they do. But that doesn't mean our marriage is better or theirs is better. It just means that works for them and this works for us. Yep. All right. So we're already pushing up against 8:30. And so back to what I was talking about before. Men and women are not do-it-yourself projects. You are not the Marie Kondo of clearing their clutter. Okay? You do not need a project.
I can't believe you know who Marie Kondo is.
I've read Marie Kondo's book. You can't tell it from my office, but I have cleared my clutter. But seriously, guys, you do not need a project. You need a life mate. You need someone who's going to be with you through the good and the bad, the thick and the thin, and someone who shares your ideas and philosophy. They don't have to be exact, but they need to be in general. Yeah. If you're a devout Baptist and you're trying to go with someone who's an atheist, you might have problems. So you kind of need to balance that out. But don't take on a project. If you want a project, get a puppy.
Puppy's not a project either. Take on crocheting. Take on
puppies are projects.
They're not projects.
Build a she shed. Do something. Don't get a significant other because you think you can fix them. People don't need to be fixed. People need to lead their lives. It's not your job to fix them to be what you want them to be.
And you're not. At that point in time, at whatever age, you're an adult. You're not going to change some of the beliefs. Maybe you can. I'm not saying you can't. But there are core beliefs that everybody has, or core issues that they have, or core beliefs, what they believe in. You're not going to change those to make them fit your love story.
Right. Now, if someone has problems that they want to work on and you love them enough to work on those problems, absolutely. But when you know someone who's just, they've got a list of red flags, right? I mean, it looks like at the beach when the riptide's out, there's just red flags everywhere. Lifeguards are screaming, people are blowing whistles, children are running around. That should be a clue. Do not take on projects, guys. Take on love. Look for someone who complements your life, not complicates your life. Let me say that again. Look for someone who complements your life, not complicates your life. Okay? Are we brainwashed as to what love is or should be? We are. Hollywood, right? I have this talk with so many, and I hate to say this, but especially with so many females, so many women who have watched so many rom-coms, and they're just convinced that, you know, they're going to get swept off their feet, and it's going to be the perfect world. And that happens sometimes. I got swept off mine. But it doesn't always happen. You want to look for reality. This is not Hollywood, because they never show you what happens the year after they get married, or the 5 years after they get married, or the 10 years after they get married. We are brainwashed by our parents, to the good or the bad. Do you know the highest percentage of divorced young people are people whose parents stayed together but fought all the time? Let me say that again. They stayed together, but they fought all the time. Those children of theirs wind up getting divorced. You know why? Because they say, I do not want to live like mom and dad did. I'm not going to be miserable. Sometimes divorce is the best answer, guys. If you're not going to be happy, don't ruin your children's lives.
Nope.
And don't say, well, you know, my religious beliefs, that's fine. But do your religious beliefs believe in you torturing your children with all this yelling and screaming, and your kids can pick up on all the anger.
Feel it.
They feel
the angst. They feel the anxiety in the air, even if they're young. I mean, even 2-3 year olds, they feel things, guys. They get that mommy and daddy aren't happy, and that's just what it is.
It's the highest percentage of young people who get divorced are their parents. You would think, but their parents stayed together, but they were miserable the whole time. It'd be better if they had just gotten divorced and focused on their children.
Yes.
Again, when you do get divorced, your children are not your pawns. Okay, we're gonna talk maybe a little bit more about that later. And by your friends, guys, I can't tell you how many people tell us, "Oh my God, I wish your marriage could be just like, I wish my marriage could be just like yours." No, you don't, because you don't know everything that goes on behind closed doors. Nope. You don't know what it took to get us to this place, right? There was a lot that went into this.
There was a lot to go into this.
We did a lot of work. We did. Some of it mine, some of it hers, some of it ours together. There had to be a lot that went through. The one thing about it was we knew we were going through it together, but there was a lot of work that went into this. And each of us say this about the other, because people see the way I treat Joan on a daily basis, and they think, oh my God, it'd be so great if I could be with a guy like you. People, I'm a lot. I am a lot. I'm not easy on a daily basis. My mind never shuts off. I am constantly on the go, whether I'm sitting still or whether I'm actually out running. I'm constantly doing something mentally, always and I'm a little OCD about things. Don't sit on my spine on the couch. That's all I'm saying. Don't move my shit. Leave my stuff alone. It's mine. Don't touch it. I have a lot of things, right? I'm not easy.
I'm not easy. I'm not the easiest person to live with. I know that. People tell me all the time, I'm like, no. I don't think I could live with myself. If I had to live with myself, I would be like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? I get it. I know that. And we talked about this before we ever made the decision to get married. I'm not the easiest person to live with. I'm not.
So don't just look at your friends and think, I want to be like them. Now, granted, you can take bits and pieces from everybody's marriage and learn and grow, right? And that's perfectly fine. You should do that. We call it best practices in the business world. That's what you want to do. You want to take best practices. But be your own self. Love your own way. Love your partner the way they need to be loved. Back to those love languages. Everybody has their love languages. Love them like their love language. And people evolve. We got up this morning. I got up at 5 so I could have some coffee before we hit the road at 6. Joan got up about 5:30. We had coffee. When I tell you, if 15 years ago I had tried to get this woman up at 5:30 to have coffee and go on a road trip, to go pick up her granddaughter, who she loves with all of her heart, mind, body, and soul, it would not have been pretty at all. It would just not have been pretty. It would have been bad. It would have been ugly. It would have been a scene. She was not a morning person. And when I say she wasn't a morning person, it's like saying a dinosaur is not a hummingbird, okay? When we first got married, I would literally get up in the morning when we worked the same shifts. I would take my shower, get everything ready. I would go in while I was getting ready. I'd let the water heat back up in the shower. I would then turn on the shower for her, get her up, let her get in the shower. I would make her a cup of coffee and hand it into the shower curtain. Let her have a few drinks of coffee, hand it back to me, and then hopefully a nice, somewhat loving human being would emerge from the shower. That didn't always happen. Said all that to say this: she was not a morning person. Now, this morning, she got up. We talked all the way to Orlando. We chatted. We had the best time. We talked about the business. We talked about plans. We talked about what we were doing. It was wonderful. She has evolved immensely. I've evolved immensely. We all have to evolve. And so Toya says, do you recommend coaching or extensive counseling before marriage? I don't, again, I'm not a counselor, so I can't speak to that. I do think life coaching, there's certain aspects of life coaching and certain sequences that we do that would be fabulous, especially like the wheel of life, where you see like, this is what you're focused on and this is what you're focused on, and do those match up, right? I don't know that you would need to go through a whole 12-week program, but maybe 2 or 3 sessions with a really good life coach or relationship coach, just to really see. And it's not like, do you like hot dogs? Do you like hot dogs? Oh, you don't like hot dogs, so maybe this isn't going to work. It's much more in depth than that. It's much more on the level of.
And as far as counseling goes, I mean, if that's what you feel like you need, of course. I mean, do as much or as little as you need to feel like you're ready to make that commitment.
Absolutely.
Some of our friends have gone through, church counseling and going through their priests and that. Some have done actually regular marriage counseling. Some have done coaching. Whatever will help you maintain that love all to be all relationship that you're in now, because when you make whether you get married or you start moving in together, you make that positive commitment to be together. You have to have those talks. And
Absolutely.
if you need help having those talks, you take whatever avenue is best for you to have those talks.
And that's a very good point too. What if you want to have those? Because Joan came from a family where there wasn't a lot of talking. They didn't talk about those kind. I came from a family where we talked about everything. I talk about things so much sometimes I know her ears are just ringing, and she's like, "I would to God you just stop talking."
Can you please be quiet now?
Yeah, but I like to talk about everything. I like to talk things through. I like to know what's going on. And so she didn't come from that kind of environment. So for her in the beginning, that would have probably been really good for us, honestly. I wanted to read this real quick. I found it on word porn today. Word porn, not other kind of porn, word porn. And it's called Remember This When Seeking Relationships. You're looking for an equal, not a project. You're looking for someone who takes care of themselves and has the capacity to take care of you too. Someone on your level that you can respect, and vice versa. Don't fall in love with potential, right? I respect my wife. I think she's got an incredible business mind. She's incredibly driven. She has great ideas about what she wants to do. She's incredibly artistic. She's incredibly hot, and she loves me. What else could you want in life? But that's what I'm looking at. Someone who I can really like. If we weren't married, I think we would still be friends. We would still be best friends.
We like each other.
We do.
We went in, well, not me, more him, but when we got together, we generally liked each other. You have to love can sometimes just be a 4-letter word. It's thrown around a lot.
Exactly.
But do you actually like each other? Would you be friends if you are not in love?
It's very true. And okay, there we are. I thought I'd knock myself off, but now, yeah. So, okay, moving along, and we're going to go real quick to divorce now because it's already 8:44. We talked a lot about this LOVE. Divorces overall, the current divorce rate is about 39%, and it's trending downward. 20, 30 years ago, the divorce rate was around 50%. It is trending down. Hard to believe, but millennials are the ones right now who are staying together the longest. And millennials are those who were born between 1981 and 1994. And that goes to that whole talking about the silver issue, and we'll get into that a little bit. The top 3 divorce issues, guys, top 3 divorce issues. And these might be things that you heard about a minute ago when we were talking about falling in love and starting a relationship. Money, number 1. You've got to have equal to or very close money values. If you're someone who just throws money away and doesn't pay any attention and just blah, 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 and your wife is someone who wants to save every penny and buy a house and buy this and that, it's going to be trouble, okay? Infidelity and having affairs. Pretty sure we talked about that. That might be a project person, okay? And sex, okay? Sex is a huge topic. We could do a whole show on sex, like 2.5, 3, 4 hours. The thing about sex is, guys, and all this is about communication, okay? If you're not communicating, you're not going to make it.
Nope.
Okay?
You have to talk to each other, not at each other. You have to talk to each other.
Exactly.
Active listening. If he's talking, you better be listening. If she's talking, he needs to be listening, not thinking about, oh, there's Bertie, no, you have to be listening to each other and talking to each other.
The thing about sex too, guys, is, and I say this a lot, and I fault a majority of men with this, and I catch a lot of shit for it, and I really don't care. Most guys want their wife to be a cook, a maid, a mother, and a lover. And I was curious as to what the hell you're doing, dude. Okay? One thing I say all the time, you want to get laid more, do some damn dishes, sweep up the floor, make a bed once in a while. You take the kids to bed. Say, how about this? How about you go get a bath and have a glass of wine? I'll go do baths for the kids, put them to bed, read them their stories, and then maybe you'll feel like a human being again and not someone who's been beat up all day and pulled on and tugged and had to do 100 different things. Now, granted, I know he was at work. I know he was making money. I'm not against all that. But what I'm saying is, guys, moms, and especially working moms, they feel like 10 different roles while a whole lot of guys do their best to fill maybe 2. Okay? That's the hill I'm willing to die on. If you don't believe it, it's entirely up to you. You don't have to, but it's a hill I'm willing to die on.
It's a partnership. Again, marriage is a partnership. Sometimes it has to be run like a business. You have to make those decisions in that marriage to make it work. Sometimes you have to make the decision to divorce to make it work.
Yeah.
Me and my ex-husband have talked more in the last 5 years than we did probably our entire marriage.
It's very true. Very true. And, so if you're not comfortable enough to be talking about sex, then you're not comfortable enough to be having sex. That's as simple as it is, guys. People, not just guys. Gray divorce is something I talk about because I know I have some older folks out in my audience. I don't know why, because I'm so young. I don't know why old people would follow me, right? But anyway, think about this. Alan Tipper Gore, Masters and Johnson, who were sex therapists. Alan Tipper Gore divorced after 40 years. Masters and Johnson, the sex therapist who wrote tons of books, and the Captain and Tennille singing group from the 70s, they divorced after 39 years of marriage. Bill and Melinda Gates just announced they're getting divorced after 27 years of marriage. Why? Well, I'm going to tell you. We're going to talk about that. And just so you know, in the silver separation, the gray divorce, 66% of the females are the ones who initiate the divorce. Never thought you'd see that, did you? The earlier generations just stuck it out. Right. And the reason for that was, and this study I thought was really revealing, it's because there were so many one-income homes that the ladies felt like they didn't have a choice but other than just to stay and be miserable. They didn't have careers. They didn't have credit. They weren't allowed to have credit. They weren't allowed to have checkbooks. Yep. They didn't have allowed to have a lot of things. They basically had to stay there, right, or go live with their kids. It's not that way anymore. 2-income families, women who are professionals of their own right, don't have to put up with a lot of shit we put them through, guys. And the 66% of them are the ones that are initiating divorces. Divorce is less of a stigma now. Sadly, it's more acceptable, right? We're all living longer lives. Joan and I were just talking about this morning. She's 50 right now, just turned 50 this year. Her 50 is not my mama's 50.
Nope.
Her 50, I'm 59. I just turned 59 years old. And people are always telling me, wow, I would never have guessed that. Because my 59 is not my dad's 59 or his dad's, if his dad even made it that far. It's a totally different world we live in. We're living longer lives and we want to live and enjoy them. And that's not what's happening. Because what happens a lot of times, these guys retire, right? They've been working for 25, 30, 35, 40 years. And now they come into the home and they want to explain to the wife how she's been doing things wrong all this time, how she's been keeping the house wrong, how she should do this, how she should do that. Or when the wife thought, hey, maybe now we're going to buy an RV and travel the country, or maybe we're going to go on great vacations, or maybe we're just going to hang out now because we're not both working and being so entwined with life that we can have fun, and he's playing golf every day or doing his own thing. So it's still like he's never there. Our significant others are not going to put up with this crap. It's just that simple. When a long marriage ends, those seeds were usually sown years before. A lot of times wives carry a lot of guilt and resentment because they had to give up so much for their husbands. Guys, I can't tell you how many times Joan had to move and change jobs because I got a better job, right? And sometimes it was even with the same company. She went with the same company she was with, and it was horrible because it was like working for somebody different. But she always made those sacrifices for me. Hopefully she's not feeling bad about it now, I guess. But yeah, but that's a big thing, is they had to give up so much. Or maybe they had a promising career, and as soon as they had 1 or 2 children, they were told it's time to stay home and be a mom, be a housewife, and they resented that because they enjoyed their career. Wives turning their full attention to their children. You guys have heard me talk about this a lot. I don't care how many children you have, you still have to keep your husband in your marriage. Because what happens is you devote all your time to your children, and suddenly when the last child turns 18 and goes to college or moves away or does whatever, you realize you're living with a man that you have no idea who the hell he is.
Yep. And vice versa. Sometimes if the husband stays home with the kids and the wife works, you've got to make sure you guys are a priority. This has to be priority number 1, because if this is not working, your children aren't working.
That's right. People say, no, my children are my priority. If you're not the priority together, your children can't be the priority.
Nope.
Okay. Again, unless you got a project. And number 3 was, a lot of times couples used work, children, and friends as distraction. Joan and I spend a lot of time here in our little place, our little bubble, alone together. We come home, we watch TV. I cook dinner, she washes dishes. We have a glass of wine or 2, maybe 3. We watch sometimes really good TV and sometimes really trashy TV. I don't give a crap. But we're together, and there's so many people that if they're not out doing something, like they use friends and all these things as a distraction, right? Pastor Dozel says, what a great team. Thanks, Pastor. We think so. We definitely think so. But your children, your friends, your work all should complement your relationship, not distract you from it. Okay. And we are bumping up against 8:52, so I've got to move along. Again, each one of these love, divorce, and staying the course could have been an hour show in itself, and we damn near made it that way. But anyway, staying the course. What does it mean to you when I say staying the course? Going from love to not getting divorced is what I'm talking about. How are you staying in that middle ground? How are you staying happy, enjoying your relationship, and being together without winding up in divorce court?
It's not easy, guys. Sometimes staying that course is work. Again, yes, you're in love. Yes, everything's all happy, hunky-dory but as soon as you shut that door, the kids start yelling, they need this, they need that, this happens, blah, 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 blah. And you're going, oh my God, now what do I do?
And if both of you aren't, and again, you'll hear me say this a lot, marriage is not 50-50. If you've ever heard that, that's bullshit. Marriage is 100-100. If you're both not putting in 100%, then one of you is going to feel slighted and angry. And there's another word I was looking for. I don't remember what it was, but you're going to feel
resentment.
Ooh, that's the one, resentment. You're going to feel resentful because you feel like you're putting in 100 and he and or she is not, or she and she, or he and he. I don't care. The number 1 rule is life nor your partner is perfect. So get over it. Okay. Again, this is not a rom-com. This is not Pretty Woman where they ride into the sunset and everybody lives happily ever after. Everybody has faults and failure. As long as you're working on them and trying and doing better, trying to do better every day, you can get past that. But if you think that your husband's the same guy today, 25 years later, that there was the guy who took you on the first date, odds are he's probably not.
No.
I'm pretty damn close. That's just me though. But no, seriously, I love loving. I love loving my wife. I live for that stuff. I live for making her happy and showing her love and adoration. I am. It's only 8:55. Number 2.
8:55. You have a whole page and a half left to go.
Number 2, make them your everything in front of everyone every time. What does that mean? What that means is don't talk shit about your wife or spouse or your significant other behind their back. I've been out with guy friends before, and they start talking that ball and chain stuff, and she this and she that. I don't have time for that. Number 1, don't talk about your wife to me, especially disparagingly, because that's something you're defaming your wife. How dare you, right? Regardless of what happens, I don't do that. I just simply don't do it. It's a tenet of mine that I do not cross. It's very simple. I have guy friends who, I can't believe they'll tell me how much she spent or what she did about this. And it's like, that's private stuff y'all need to keep together. Now, if you want a life coach and you want to talk about things I can help you with, that's great. But let's don't confuse trying to get help with talking shit about somebody. Okay. Especially
it doesn't make you look bigger. It doesn't make you look like the bigger person if you're talking about your significant other in that way in front of your friends.
Exactly. You should always be building up your significant other. Loving your spouse is a great reason to live. You are absolutely right, Pastor. Number 3, and we are getting to the bottom, guys, I promise. If you are doing something you do not want your spouse to see, such as photos, text, hanging out, going places, anything that if your wife came in, you would immediately turn your phone off or hide something or throw something away, you're cheating.
Cheating's not about sex, people. It's about another significant connection. It's about feeling a certain way with somebody else that you're not feeling with your spouse. And why are you not feeling with your spouse? That's what you should be talking about with your spouse about, not somebody else.
I talk to a lot of different women about a lot of different things, but I don't talk to any woman that my wife doesn't know about.
Nope.
Mikhail, one of my dearest friends, we tease and call her my work wife. That's good. If you're hiding, you're cheating. You are. I call Mikhail my work wife, and everybody knows that. And she and Joan are best of friends. And it's like, as soon as my phone goes off, she's like, "Is that Mikhail?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's talking about this, or we're looking at that. Usually we're talking about our children. Her littlest one and I are best buddies. So she's sending me pictures of her, and we're talking about work because we both work at the same place. There's never a time when Joan could say, "Let me see your phone," that I couldn't just hand it to her. Never. There's just never a time. If you look, I talk to a lot of other female coaches about a lot of things. None of them are inappropriate. There's nothing. I don't delete chats. I don't delete texts. There's nothing on my phone that my wife can't see. I know her password. She knows my password. If you can't have that level of comfort, there's a reason. Okay. To me, emotional cheating is almost worse than physical cheating.
Yes.
Because you're allowing somebody else to take up space in your heart and your mind that your significant other should be taking. And if that's how you're feeling, then get the hell out or get help. Okay? That whole the grass isn't always greener on the other side. It's greener because that's what you're watering, right? When you're sneaking off and having dates, if you would sneak off and have a date with your wife or your significant other, your relationship would be better. Well, you don't know. She's a bitch, or all she does is gripe at me.
You know what?
All she does is gripe at me. All she does is complain about what I don't do.
Then get out before you do that.
Well, but here's my question. When she's griping about all the things you don't do, or when he's griping about all the things that you don't do, is she right? If you corrected those behaviors, could things be better between the two of you? I'm just asking. I don't know. I'm just asking. Could be true. Put that time and effort that you're putting into that other person into your person. Okay. Emotional cheating for me is huge. To me, it's heartbreaking. It really, really is. And number 4, something that Joan and I talk about all the time, and something we talk to our friends about, and something you'll see me post on Facebook a lot is, and look, it's only 8:59. I'm not doing bad. We do not lean out. We lean in. When we have happiness, we lean in and we're happy together. When we have hard times, whether it's hard times we made for ourselves, we lean into each other. When my mom died, when both of her parents died, we leaned in. We looked to each other. When our niece was murdered by a vicious killer back in the 90s, we leaned into each other. We comforted each other. When 9/11 is a perfect example. Joan had friends and family in New York. I didn't. I mean, 9/11 was huge for everybody, but when you know people there, when you know people who actually work in that vicinity, we had to lean into each other. She needed a lot of comfort for that, right? We lean in. We don't lean out. When I need help, when I need comfort, I don't go to somebody else. I don't go to my work wife. I go to my real wife. I go to my work wife when I want to talk stupid shit, when I want to fuss about my job. We lean in. Pastor said we lean in together. That's absolutely right, guys. We don't lean out. We lean in. We lean into each other. We look to each other for comfort. We look to each other for
strength. We look for each other for
answers.
Don't go looking for those answers somewhere else. You're not going to find them.
There's no one that knows me better than Joan does. So, and there's also no one who's going to call me on my bullshit quicker than Joan will, and vice versa. Because there's sometimes when you're just being an ass and somebody needs to tell you you're being an ass, right? We lean in, and that's what you got to do. If that person that you're with, if you're with your significant other, and every time you have a problem, the only person that can help you is your mom or your dad or your brother, I'm afraid you might not be with the right person. And I don't want to hurt your feelings, but that's just how serious it is. Lean into your person. Tell your good and your bad to your person, right? Anybody have anything else you want to comment on before we close out? Did anybody get anything out of this? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was helpful?
It was a lot. It was a lot. Definitely a lot.
I told you, we could have done 1 hour on each one of these little segments. Love, divorce, and staying the course. It's a lot. But having a real relationship takes a lot. If you're only putting a little bit into it, you're only going to get a little bit out of it. Don't forget, if you're interested, if you have the littles and you want some really cool clothing, don't forget to join us on Friday night at 8 o'clock for our unboxing for our Pete and Lucy garments. You can also go on our Facebook page to our shop around the corner and look at some of the clothes that we already have up. Again, tonight we are being sponsored by Go Giga Creations. That's going to take a while to learn to say. Go Giga Creations, an amazing group who does producing and websites and all kinds of really, really amazing stuff. Yep, there's our page again. It is our shop around the corner. Again, if you would like life coaching, if you want someone to talk to, remember, life coaching is all about you're here and you want to be there, and how do I get there? That's what a life coach can help you do. Playbigcoach.com is where you want to go. For free, you can get your first session. We'll just talk. We'll figure out what it's all about and see if I can actually be a help to you. We appreciate it. I'm only 3 minutes over. I think I did good tonight. awfully good. Because I could have talked on this subject for forever because it's one of my favorite subjects. We appreciate and love each and every one of you. We thank you for being here. Daniel and Sarah, we are so excited for you guys, and we can't wait to have you guys over and have dinner and chat and, basically just, reconnect, okay? Thank you all so much.
And we're out.
Good night, guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the Play Bigger podcast. Coach Curtis is dedicated to helping you grow, thrive, and excel. Playing bigger is more than a tagline, it's a lifestyle. So be sure to tune in every other week for more from the Play Bigger Coach. And check us out online at www.playbigcoach.com. There you can schedule your free 1 hour Play Big strategy session. We look forward to seeing you.